Could everyone casually shut the fuck up?
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. I'm so cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. I just can't understand it. So defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Guess everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. Whitebeard, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fits. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in the pool, blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you in my cat's reading gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom, both a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public demented. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the fucking milk quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do this live every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can also find the podcast of this wherever you pod your casts. And if you want to support the project and get the entire show, including red light, sent directly to your email every Monday afternoon, you can go to eplex.store or patreon.com/Echoplex. Sign up at the $5 level or higher, and that happens for you. Also, go to echoplexmedia.com, click the support tab to find other ways to support this project. And I'm producer Dave, and you can find me on Grindr. This is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. And there's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Thank your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace. Keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 If you didn't hate the cops, cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
All right, everybody. Before we start, there seems to be a bunch of horrible shit going on in the United Kingdom. Often appears, or it looks to be the result of a misinformation. There appears to be a lot of violence directed at immigrants, including what looks like they lit a building on fire where the immigrants are housed. I don't have enough information on it to cover it properly. If the violence is ongoing, we will talk about it next week on the Sunday show. I just don't want to be part of the problem by trying to get information quickly as it comes out and then getting it wrong. So I hope you all don't mind. But we do have 2 weeks worth of news to cover because I took last week off, which was good for me and probably good for this show. This is the podcast part of this show might run a little long tonight. Here it is, the dumbest thing that I saw in the last 2 weeks.
But the State of the Union was not live. And
yes, it was.
No. Did you see that they found out that it wasn't? That they looked at his watch, and his watch was...
no.
Yeah. Do a State of the Union analysis, Biden's watch.
No way.
Yeah, someone zoomed in on his watch, and his watch was the wrong time.
How could that even be?
Well, it could be he's blind, and you can't see what time his
all the
fucking
networks
watch
on
is.
it?
I don't know what they knew. How do you know what they knew? You just you get a feed, you know.
I don't think all the Republicans would agree to it too.
Who knows what they knew? They're all there live while he's doing it.
Yeah, You got Mike Johnson behind you. You got them all in the audience crossing their hands when they don't like what you say. It's got to be live.
Let's see.
I don't see anything. State of the Union wasn't live.
Who's his guest?
It could be some troll shit.
See anything about that?
It could be some troll shit. You have nothing to do all day, Mr. Rogan, but do this show, and you're like, oh, this could be some troll shit. Why didn't what the fuck, dude?
There was no Biden's watch. Look at Biden's watch, incorrect time, State of the Union.
He doesn't have a watch as a sundial. The guy's like the guy's 5,000 years old.
He's looking at the stars with a sextant.
That's not why he has that face.
No, President Biden's Oval Office address wasn't pre-recorded. A fake
No, that's
image
the
with
Oval
the
Office,
wrong
not the State
time
of the
floating
Union.
around. Yeah, there is a fake image. They got me, these sons of bitches. It's just amazing how much stuff.
Dude, what the fuck?
Floating around. Say it again. Put it up.
That's also not the State of the Union thing.
Yeah, it's not the State of the Union.
Wasn't?
No, that was just him talking after whatever, when after he hadn't been seen for a few days.
Well, that I believe could have been
Oh.
pre-recorded. That wouldn't make big deal one way or another. Like if you're giving a talk and you have something to say, you can
Oh, so
take
they
8 takes.
used the wrong image from a different thing.
Yeah.
These cocksuckers.
What does he do all day? Like literally, what does the guy do all day? Like, because I spend all day Sunday like preparing for this show that, you know, compared to that guy, nobody watches me. But I'm like, something seems a little fishy or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not going to cover that, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like, what does this guy do all day? Like, he has nothing else to do all day, right? Somebody chats like he just gets high all day. Well, maybe, but even so, you could still like have somebody else do that shit for you. Up next, this is from Fox News. This is still in the aftermath of Biden dropping out a couple weeks ago. They don't want us talking about the timing of Joe Biden dropping out, apparently.
I want to commend you first, if I may, for reminding your viewers continuously since the 10-day ago near assassination attempt on former President Trump, because the mainstream media is in manipulation mode right now. They don't want us talking about that. That's why the timing of this announcement, the text breakup from the election, and proceedings going forward with Joe Biden, that's why this announcement came right now. They don't want us talking about what happened. They don't want us talking about a resilient man who faced a near assassination and stood up with resiliency. They certainly didn't want us talking about the hearings today. They certainly didn't want us talking about security failings. So what do? A text breakup and a switcheroo, and here we are today. And The View is, of course, doing what The View does best. They're going to pump the girl candidate no matter what, when all of a sudden gender matters to them. I look at
It's a woman. I hate when they do this. I hate when they fucking like infantilize women. The girl candidate is Donald Trump the boy candidate? I hate when they do that. Can't they just fucking? I mean, even if you don't like somebody, you fucking refer to them as a woman. And the timing. I mean, like, I don't know. It just seems like no matter when that happened, they were going to be like, oh, the timing of this was to distract you from that. The underlying thing here is they are accusing their audience, you, me, everybody, of not being able to hold like fucking two thoughts in our minds, right? Like we can't think about a couple fucking things. Like I think about a lot of different things in any given day. I'm thinking about doing this show right now. I'm thinking about a million things right now. I'm thinking about possible things in the hallway that might be distracting me. I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. Like, but I guess they think their audience or they think people can only think about one thing, and that's fucking stupid. So, I'm not a giant fan of Mayor Pete, but I'm starting to dislike him less and less as as this election cycle goes on, because he's stuff like this.
Nominee.
And was she aware of how he was doing?
We're all aware of how he's doing. Our country has watched our president lead. And yes, we've also seen the fact that he's 10 years older than he was 10 years ago. But unlike Republicans, right, who in Trump's personality cult will take a look at Donald Trump and say he's perfectly fine, even though he seemed unable to tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi, even though he's rambling about electrocuting sharks and Hannibal Lecter, even though he is clearly older and stranger than he was when America first got to know him. They say he's strong as an ox, leaps tall buildings in a single bound.
Well,
we don't have that kind of warped reality on our side.
Well,
On the contrary, the president confronted that reality in what must have been one of the most difficult decisions for an American president to make ever. And he did something that I don't think Donald Trump could even conceive of doing, which is putting his own interests aside for the country.
Well, voters have said that they are much like.
So I don't want to spend it's shout out to all the people that pull these clips. I would never be able to do this show without them, but it's like weird. I think they're using like some AI tool or something, because the clips just get pulled and like they get cut off at a weird place. But what Pete said there was pretty good, and I think it is a good way for him to approach it on Fox too. He's like, hey, this guy kind of did the right thing. I mean, y'all were saying that he was incapable of being the president. So yeah, that's the only thing he left out actually, is like, a lot of your viewers were saying that he was incapable of being the president and needed to drop out or whatever. And then he did it. And Yeah, I don't know. I'm liking him more and more. I imagine he will continue if Joe Biden, or I'm wrong already. If Kamala wins, I imagine he will continue in his cabinet position as transportation secretary, though he may get some kind of promotion. I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of him. Don't necessarily agree with his politics. He's definitely like a shit lib, and my understanding is that he's a landlord. But again, he's like a grown-up version of the boy next door who's gay, who they can send over to Fox News, which is it has its advantages, like tactically for liberals and to some extent for the left, as we try to deal with this unfolding dystopia. Up next, we got Michael Knowles, who usually appears later in the docket, but did you know that Mayor Pete might not even be gay?
Here is Pete Buttigieg explaining why men need to support someone like Harris, specifically because of her stance on abortion.
I'm so glad she has made freedom the theme of her campaign, because I think in so many ways that's what's at stake. And yes, women's freedom is Exhibit A after Donald Trump demolished the right to choose. But of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care.
Actually, forget about the women. Men are way more free when women can kill their babies.
What the fuck?
Men can then have promiscuous and unaccountable sex with those women. That's right. The men can go out and just...
So Michael Knowles doesn't understand that Pete was talking about men who have sisters, men who are married to women, men who fuck women, men who are dating women. Because if you're in a long-term relationship and both of you aren't ready to be parents, then the abortion, sure, the woman decides, but it's you're in a relationship together. So the ability to make that decision will benefit both of you. Imagine thinking of someone other than yourself.
Use the women for their own sexual gratification, and then they can pressure them to murder the babies that are sometimes conceived so that the men can go out and use and abuse even more women. Isn't that great, guys? Put another nickel in the Pete is not gay conspiracy theory.
What?
I've always taken Pete at his word that he is a homosexual. However, I have some friends, including a homosexual friend of mine.
Yeah, but Milo Yiannopoulos doesn't count. And Nikki Fuentes isn't out, so.
Spencer Clavin, who has said for a long time that Pete Buttigieg is not really gay. That's his favorite conspiracy theory. And I said, I don't know, man, I don't know. And he said, no, I'm telling you, and his argument was that Pete Buttigieg, I've met many people like this, he's a real striver. He was a Harvard guy, real ambitious. I mean, for goodness sakes, the guy went from being mayor of some town in Indiana to being the transportation secretary.
He ran for president, and he didn't do that well, but he did fucking better than people expected.
He's done nothing. He decided he was going to run. He was going to be mayor of a small town and then just run for president. And he actually did pretty well. So he's a real striver. He's real ambitious. And, but he has this problem, which is he's a straight white guy. Again, I'm not saying he's a straight white guy. I'm saying this is the conspiracy theory. He's a straight white guy. So he's got this problem, right? He's over there at Harvard. He says, shoot, man, I'm not going to rise very far in liberal politics if I'm the most evil type of person in the world, a straight white guy. So
wait, what?
I need some struggle.
That was mind-expandingly stupid. A guy that looked like Pete Buttigieg could go very far in politics as a straight white guy. Because Pete Buttigieg, he's cute. I mean, like, he's like a good-looking guy. He's got like a boy next door kind of vibe. Like, he could have done fine. Also, I don't think he was the mayor of like a small town. Wasn't he the mayor of a city? I forget what city it was, but it wasn't like some place you've never heard of, right? It was like a city with like buildings that are tall. It wasn't Indianapolis, I don't think, but I think it was another like city that one would know of in Indiana. Also, don't they hate big city? Whatever. Anyway, we're moving. Was it Bend? I don't know. I don't know what city it was. South Bend. Yeah, I had heard of it before. It's not a big city, but oh, it was Gary? All right, well, my chat has no idea either. This is why I shouldn't be looking at chat during the fucking podcast. Because now the people listening on Spotify are like, what is happening right now? Anyway, we got this person. Her name is Victoria Spartz. She was on Fox Business, and your guess is as good as mine what the fuck she's saying here.
Now, former President Trump is now accusing Biden of trying to turn the high court into another Congress. The news broke yesterday. What do you make of this?
Well, I think, listen, she was, Vice President was very successful with eliminated root causes for sure. But the same way, they tried to move socialist agenda. She was the one who wanted government takeover of healthcare, Green New Deal. And when radicals tried to move that last century and they were trying to intimidate Supreme Court. And they know that, they're doing something that is really now designed by our Constitution. So if they, Chevron doctrine recently was ruled to be unconstitutional. It doesn't allow them to continue taking over the, centralizing power by the government of industries. I mean, this is unbelievable what they're doing through regulations and rules, and this is the deterrence to advance very radical socialist agenda because we have original justices there. So that's true intimidation of the Supreme Court, and we need to put stop for that. This radical socialist agenda is going to destroy our country if we don't wake up soon.
Yeah, the Journal writes this morning, Biden's political assault on the Supreme Court. Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, it's great to see you. Thank you.
Anybody remember Lenka Koloma? That's all I was thinking of when fucking she was talking. I was thinking, I remember Lenka Koloma demanding to speak to Mr. City of San Clemente. I caught like socialist agenda and Chevron doctrine. Something about trying to turn the Supreme Court into the Congress. It was, I don't know, fucking keep putting her on TV. Fuck it. I like her. I'd like to see like a long form interview with her because it could only get crazier. Does she have like a podcast or something? Up next, we got the former president saying, I don't know what the fuck he's saying here either. Check this out. This is actually kind of disgusting, actually, what he says here.
Any Jewish person that voted for her or him or whoever it's going to be, I assume it's going to be her. Anybody that did that should have their head examined. If you love Israel or if you're Jewish, because a lot of Jewish people do not like Israel and they happen to be in New York. You know that.
Yes.
But if you are Jewish, regardless of Israel, if you're Jewish, if you vote for a Democrat, you're a fool, an absolute fool. They have let Jewish people down since Obama at levels that nobody could believe possible. 15 years ago, the strongest lobby in all of Washington was Israel. It was by far the strongest lobby. Nobody would say anything bad about Israel. Today, it's like nobody says anything good, except Republicans, by the way. Nobody says anything good about it. So it's a hell of a change. I assume you know exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
15 years ago, you couldn't say a bad thing.
No.
You'd be out of office.
Yeah.
And today, it's almost like, Schumer has become a Palestinian. Chuck Schumer is officially now a Palestinian.
It's funny, but it's true. It's sad. He is. And they tell me that this Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, Mr. President, is Jewish. He's Jewish like Bernie Sanders is Jewish. Are you kidding me? He's a crappy Jew. Yeah. He's a horrible Jew.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, dude. Fucking Jew checking is bad, right? Like, it's not my job, or anyone else's job, to decide who gets to, whether you're ethnically Jewish or if that's your religion. You could have converted yesterday. There's any it's none of my goddamn business. You go on with your bad Jewish self. You can vote for whoever the fuck you want. I might disagree with who you vote for, that kind of stuff, but it doesn't. I'm not religious at all. My family's not religious at all. Pretty sure that there's nothing. I don't think we have. There must be Jewish people in our family if you go out far enough, but it's just, this is nothing to what the fuck, dude. Leave them alone. Most American Jewish people vote for Democrats. I think it's almost, is it 3-1, something like that? I think it might even be 4-1. My fucking God. Up next, did you know This is Waters, Jesse Waters. He took Tucker's spot. And did you know you can become a woman now by voting for a woman?
Now, I don't see why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man and then vote for a woman just because she's a woman is either childish, that person has mommy issues, or they're just trying to be accepted by other women. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what the science says.
Science says that.
Like even the fucking conservative lady in the dress, that lady's a ghoul too, but she's like, even she was like, what the fuck? Waters is pretending to like he's doing some kind of comedy, but he's not. He's not funny. Gutfeld isn't funny. Some of the things they say are funny, but not because they're trying to be funny, right? Like there's a little bit different. Like when you say something that makes me laugh, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing comedy. That might be that you've made me laugh because it's funny for a different reason. Like you vote for who you want. You want to vote, like it doesn't turn you into anything other than a person who voted for the person that you voted for. Up next, we got a really short clip. This is great. Fucking fantastic. Janine Pirro, of all people, suggesting that anyone else might have a drinking problem is fun.
Her past is something that she should be embarrassed of. Her past 3.5 years in the White House has been a joke. You'd have to look at this woman and say, you know, is she sober?
We have the
during the
tapes.
last 3.5 years. I mean, she just laughed her way
but
through it.
Right.
And
I mean, people call you box wine Janine Pirro. Like, I mean, the box wine part is just a speculation upon what it is that she's drinking. But we've seen her we've seen her doing her show where she was clearly fucking housed. And I mean, that's fine, whatever. I don't care. Like you've seen me fucking housed talking to this microphone before. At least the Twitch viewers have. And like, that's okay, but like don't run around calling other people fucking alcoholics if you're doing your show like intoxicated on like regularly. I mean, I've toned it down significantly since we were all stuck at home, but Jesus Christ, that'd be like me like complaining that somebody had a beer like during their live stream or something. She's talking about, there's this thing Kamala Harris for a while was doing, like I was either on TikTok or Instagram, where she was like making cocktails, showing people how to make cocktails and shit. I don't know. That's fucking cool. If she's like a fucking mixologist, that's great. That's cool. She can make a Mai Tai if she wants. Fucking. Anyway, up next, we got Sean Hannity versus the coconut tree.
As Kamala likes to say, well, she didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. Take a look.
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Oh, that's like her favorite line of all time. Yes, you're giggling, Vice President. You can't say on The View giggling, though. That hard-hitting news show, because they think that's sexist.
So what's really funny about this is they've been trying to hit her on this, and it's not working. It's not working because a bunch of people younger than me, like younger millennials and Gen Zers, are all hella talking about the coconut tree right now, and they fucking love it. Fucking love it. I think there's people out there that are going to come out to vote just because of the fucking coconut tree. And like, I don't think they understand that like, it's kind of nice to have like somebody who, you know, for all her faults or whatever, or she's a little bit quirky and weird and like, but not in a rapey way. Like the fucking, like, you know, like she's quirky and weird and talks about a coconut tree, and maybe every once in a while does a fun video about making a fucking basil lemonade cocktail or whatever. And JD Vance is quirky and weird, and if everybody remembers Fuck Yo Couch, well, he gave that a new meaning. Up next, this is CNN talking about Kamala being a brat. This is all like not going to work. They need to figure something else out. And I think what's going to happen is they're just going to double down on the racism. They've been trying to black check her, like she's less black because one of her parents is Indian. Like they've tried all kind of weird shit, and I think it's just gonna end up being like misogyny and racism. They're just gonna end up saying that she's dumb because she's a black woman, or that they might even try to go with that she's a little too sassy. That they may do some version of uppity, and that's not gonna. Well, it's gonna work better than this, but it's gonna. None of what they're doing is landing. It's been really funny watching this. Yeah, here's a CNN panel talking about her being a brat, I suppose. This is probably cringe, but whatever. There's like a way in which once something gets cringe and then becomes accepted, it's kind of cool and funny. And I think that's what's happening right now. And the Fox News people, etc., they don't know how to deal with this.
And Jamie, I also want to talk about this appeal to Gen Z.
Right, which is a natural question.
Natural question for you.
I am here today just for this question. Yes, our biggest brat. Yeah.
So, I, for the record, I was tipped off about this, what I'm about to share with our viewers, by my 16-year-old
who truly
daughter,
is an
actual member of Gen Z. Kamala Harris appears to be leaning into this. The singer Charlie XCX tweeted last night, "Kamala is brat." And this is in reference to her album. It's called Brat. Kamala has branded her Kamala HQ Twitter page with the same aesthetic of the album. That's another Gen Z word, aesthetic. It's even becoming a trend on TikTok.
Okay, Gen Z aesthetic is not a Gen Z word.
Special Gen Z correspondent Jamie, what can you tell us about?
So first of all, just for my producer Elizabeth Stewart, who will spit out her coffee as I say this, I am supposed to say that's brat. And for those who are not in the know the way I am, that is a cool thing. It has a color. Chartreuse is the color, and Kamala Harris has
they have a nice printer.
That for whatever social media page that is. But I have brought some notes because I knew you would want a definition. Okay, here we go. Charlie XCX, who I do know, quote, brat. You're just that girl who is a little messy and likes to party and maybe says some dumb things sometimes.
Hell yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying, is that if that's kind of what they've tried to paint her as, and the fucking young voters are like, all right.
End quote.
So is the idea that we're all kind of brat and Vice President Harris is brat? I don't
know if
you're brat. I think you aspire to
be
brat.
Right.
Okay, you don't just become brat.
Oh, okay.
You have to try.
You can work at it.
I will aspire to be brat. I will aspire. But I mean, the point is that she is, whether it's her or some very clever people who work for her, going right for them in a language of their own that apparently nobody at this table speaks.
To quote another generation.
Except for you, because you think you're
maybe
23.
This is your generation. She's going to
I'm the closest.
You're a millennial. Take it ezy.
So
why are these people so out of touch? I'm 47 years old and I know what that meant.
She's going to own it.
Own it.
Well, I mean, the truth.
I kind of intuitively knew what it meant when I saw people being like, oh, that's brat. And like I saw the things that they were showing. I kind of intuitively knew kind of what it meant. But then I fucking did this amazing thing when I saw it. I looked it up and I was like, yeah, it definitely, it means pretty much what I thought it meant. It just means, yeah, kind of kooky and fucking weird and cool and willing to have fun and not being too terribly embarrassed about being kooky and weird and stuff. And that's fucking okay. I mean, that's not bad marketing, especially considering that it was perceived, and it turned out not to be true, but it was perceived that one of her negatives was that she's brat. But no, that's kind of like one of the endearing things about her is that she's a little weird. It's sort of the same way. It's not the same thing, but it's sort of the same way that W came off as kind of dumb and folksy, right? It's not necessary. It's not, obviously it's not the same thing, but it's in the same realm as that. where he did lean into it because it worked for some of the people that he was trying to get to vote for him. So that I just don't see this is not going to work. Great. Here's Fox News' take on this. This ought to be fun.
I've always believed that the online presence of the Trump campaign was superior to to Biden's. But now Kamala Harris is stepping up. And look, I had to look this person up today. There's this person named Charlie. She's got a lot of music online. She called it Brat Summer, which means like you're messy and bold. And these are these memes that are coming out. And the Brat logo is like this deep green, and I'm sure if other people are looking online like, why is Kamala Harris having this out there? But it's because they are trying, if you guys want to pull this up, it's call for number 4, that she is trying to figure out a way to get
in the middle looks uncomfortable
back on her side. Will that work?
Well, Dana, it may be hard to believe I'm past the era of memes as well, so I'm not sure I'm the target demographic either. But I'll say this, everything they've tried to date hasn't worked. Free college, free rent, pro-Hamas, all these giveaways.
Free, where is all this stuff?
They've been just blatant attempts to win over young voters, all the green environmental lunacy, and it hasn't worked. So I'll give them credit for at least trying something new. But the other thing I'd say is Vice President Harris has a serious credibility issue with the voters as a whole. She's not been seen as a terribly dignified or accomplished vice president. She ran a disastrous campaign in 2020. So she's got work to do with the electorate as a whole. And if she's spending this much time trying to win over that 18 to 29 group with a bunch of memes, what do you think the rest of America is thinking as they digest all that news?
Colin, thanks for most people don't know that this is going on though, right? Like, I kind of knew what that was, but that's just because like I'm weird and like fucking terminally online, as we say. But like they're not. This isn't going to work. This isn't going to work either. They're having a real hard time with this. It's great. Oh, did you know the Democrats have criticized Kamala in the past? That's going to work. That's going to work. This will be the one that works.
Now Kamala moves up to the number 1 spot, and now she's looking for a number 2.
Well, Nancy Pelosi did endorse her, but there's a flashback, right? Late last night, there's a flashback. Back in September, she was on with Anderson Cooper. Remember, he said, do you think Kamala Harris is the best running mate for this president? And she went on to say, well, that's what matters, that this was his pick, and she's very politically astute. And then she goes on to say, Anderson's asking, well, why hasn't she done anything, basically? And she says, she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much.
Right. And also, Jamie Raskin had something similar to say about her and how she's doing at her job. But we're going to forget about all that and turn the page. She's the best thing ever.
In fact, the former president's current vice presidential nominee is the one who said that Donald Trump might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroin he's responsible for, nauseous and reprehensible. I joined the chairman in seeking unity as the antidote to political violence. Unity as the
So that's just a comparison. Like they're not talking about JD Vance saying that, but like whatever. Like it's okay to like be like, oh, I don't know if that's the best running mate. That's like not even important. Like, and yeah, the vice president actually tends not to. They're the head of the Senate, and they tend not to like. It's not that they're not doing anything. It's that they're generally the vice president's sort of in the background. You know, like Mike Pence didn't do a whole lot until they wanted to kill him. Like, what the fuck? Up next, oh, they sent out Ted Cruz. That'll work. Here's what Ted Cruz has to say.
Let me say at the outset, Kamala can't have my guns, she can't have my gasoline engine, and she sure as hell can't have my steaks and cheeseburgers. She is a radical California leftist, and to be honest, she perfectly captures where today's Democrat Party is.
All right. Well, that's great. Now more people, everybody hates Ted Cruz. Did you know she wants to take away your stove? She wants to take away your stove. This fucking JD Vance saying that too. Not great.
Harris wants to ban fracking, ban offshore drilling, take away your gas cars. And by the way, I think in America, you ought to be able to drive whatever the hell you want to, because this is America and we believe in freedom.
So you're fired is really weird. Like, who are they firing? JD Vance?
She wants to take away your gas stoves. She even wants to take away your ability to eat red meat.
Does she?
How out there she is.
I've been talking about this for a long time.
That's real. The fake news will fact check it. They'll fact check it true. She actually said that. In other words, she thinks that she's better than us. She thinks she's better than you.
She better than you, JD Vance. Like, none of this is like all this generic like shit. Like, every fucking weird ass poster, every fucking weird right wing poster is now I guess running the talking points for these people, and regular people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is not going to work. Up next, we got Senator John Kennedy, I guess comparing Kamala Harris to Margaret Thatcher.
Alex Castellanos is one of the brightest political commentators I know, and he's made the point that the burden on the vice president is to prove to the American people that she's a serious person. Margaret Thatcher didn't giggle. Golda Meir didn't giggle. When you look at the polls,
So the Brits hate Margaret Thatcher.
Or not, many Americans, and again, this may not be fair, but I'm just telling you what the polls show. Many Americans think that the vice president is a little bit of a ding-dong, that she's not serious.
This ding-dong, Senator, has risen in the polls, and I'm wondering if the strategy to focus on her laugh or the former president calling her nasty and crazy really promotes that push to show she's not up to the job. Does it look petty? Does it say to judge her on this level looks like a strategy that could backfire on Republicans? By all means, get her on the issues that matter, like you've talked about abortion, to clarify what this Supreme Court push might be about. But to focus on this other stuff just looks dumb.
Well, what if I could
Cavuto from the top fucking rope.
Fair or not, what the polls, the crosstabs show, is that those Americans who have an opinion of the vice president think that, number one, she's a bit of a ding-dong. And
you just keep saying it. Oh, man. Imagine, like Cavuto just accidentally bodying you, like, of all people.
She is a member of the Loon Wing of the Democratic Party. She's a San Francisco
that member
Democrat.
of the Loon Wing, Senator, that I'm not, casting aspersions either way, that member of the Loon Wing is now, dead even with Donald Trump in one battle state ground after another. Now, I'm not saying that might last. I am saying that this loon is surging, and if the Republican approach to her is to treat her like a loon and a cackle, and she is just an empty suit, I wonder how far that'll go.
Well, I'm sorry if that offends you, Neil, but I'm just telling you what the people of America think.
I'm just telling you what the polls are showing right now. Now, if you think they're short line, they're not going to last, and you're okay with this approach of talking about her laugh and nasty and disrespectful and all this stuff that Donald Trump has said, you don't think part of that is going to kill you at the polls?
I'm telling you what I think the American people think right now, based on the polling that I've seen, and let me say it again. I think that fair or not, and it may upset you, but fair or not, the American people think, those who have an opinion of the vice president think that, number one, she's a little bit of a ding-dong. She's not
He keeps saying it. What the fuck, dude?
They've had one vegetable in chief. They don't want another.
You fucking idiot. Like, yo. Like, when... Oh, man. Could you move on? Could you move on? So up next, we got Lance Walnew, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Lance Walnew. He's a little bit of a kook. We've been covering him for a while. Usually he shows up later in the docket during what we used to put, like, there was like a politics section and then like a religious weirdo section and then like sort of IDW sort of weird guy section and then go into red light. Well, more and more these religious kooks end up in the regular news part of the show. And here's Lotz Wallanu saying that she is that Kamala Harris, she's a Jezebel, which is very, very Alex Jones-like to say about someone.
She represents something which I believe is probably the amalgam of the spirit of Jezebel, and in a way that'll be even more ominous than Hillary, because she'll bring a racial component, and she's younger. And so this is going to be a real thing to rise above that. So in the spirit, as a Christian, I'm describing to you warfare on two levels, right?
She's a Jezebel. She has the Jezebel spirit. She's an amalgamation of the Jezebel spirit. That's the fucking all right. Like the other thing that's been working for like the Democrats, the liberals, is just be like, why are y'all so fucking weird? Which is why we should have been doing that for a lot longer. But they're getting mad, and that was weird, right? That was fucking weird. Like why you got to be weird? Speaking of weird, here's Sebastian Gorka. He's going to say that she's the DEI candidate. Because of course that's what he's saying.
And the big challenge, the deliciousness of it all, is this woman who is literally a DEI hire, a woman who laughs about little yellow school buses and Venn diagrams, who cackles like an insane woman. How are you going to jump? How are you going to skip over her because she's female and her skin color is the correct DEI color? Can they parachute in a straight white guy or not? If they do, what is the base going to say? And I'll say one more thing. This is great for conservatives who want to save America. Why? Outside of the open border and the cost of living, what is the thing that's most annoying Americans in the last 3 years? It's diversity, it's equity, it's inclusion, which probably almost got my former boss murdered last Saturday. Those short, overweight, incompetent female agents screaming,
"What the fuck?" Yo, you know what? I want to put him in a cage match with one of those fucking Secret Service people he's talking about.
That's the DEI that you don't have to be a presidential nominee to see that it's dangerous. You just have to be, a female swimmer in high school who has to change in a restaurant.
Man, he's playing the hits, isn't he?
Male who says he's a girl and walks around naked. So this choice, this trap they've created for themselves of Kamala, the DEI hire, it's not going to be very popular with the average American. So keep it up, keep on going, Kamala.
Dr. Gorka summed it up so well. I've said that so many times on my own show. She very well might be the first DEI president. If they can't skip over her now. Mm-hmm. They're locked in because of their policies.
God forbid she's the president. Please don't say stuff like that. Don't say stuff like that. She's going to be a candidate, but not the president. The last 3.5 years have been disastrous enough.
Absolutely. And I was talking about it with Carl Higbee, the whole attempted assassination, and he said DEI could have meant DIE. So we need to get it in check. And if we had Kamala Harris as the president of the United States, Dr. Gorka, let's not put that out there.
All right. Well, that was, again, they're like, why are you calling us weird? That was weird. But Sebastian Gorka is fucking weird. So up next, we got the former president, TFG, as we call him around here. Here's him. He didn't even know that Kamala was black.
Follow up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
Dumb motherfucker.
Known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she
You dumb motherfucker.
became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask, continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct.
People in the audience, they're laughing at him. Oh, those people hate being fucking laughed at. So, if you are heritage, if your father is Indian and your mother is black, or the other way around, or whatever, you're going to be seen by society as black, and that's what blackness and race is. Race is socially constructed, and it is foisted upon you by the society in which you live. So she black. It's really dumb. Up next, they had that White Dudes for Kamala Zoom call, and apparently that's racist, I guess. I don't know. Here's some weird segment from Fox News.
What do you think about that? Rainbow of beige.
Sounds like a fun day to me. So racist. It's the polite racism cracks me up. And Jesse's supposed to be the embodiment of conservative racist face, but it's never. I thought it's never the Republicans
polite racism
who ever bring up race. It's always the same thing. White dudes for Kamala, awesome. So now I'll start setting up white dudes for Tyrus. Like, it just makes no sense. And what if we had black dudes, black brothers for Trump? Well, we'd all lose our blackness as soon as we showed up for the meeting. So, I mean.
What? That's hella dumb. That's what he's a black dude for Trump. It's fine. I don't fucking, doesn't make him not black. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's not it. That was incredibly dumb. Here we go, though. The stupidity is just going to keep ramping up here. Here we got Vivek Ramaswamy. Apparently there's a plot to switch out Kamala Harris for Michelle Obama at the DNC.
So look, I say this as somebody who a year ago predicted Joe was not going to be the nominee. I'm going to predict that Kamala Harris is not going to be the nominee either. And the reason is, if they get one shot, they're going to take their absolute best shot that they can.
Who is it?
That's clearly not Kamala Harris. Well, look, I think there's a lot of open possibilities. I would not write off the possibility that it ends up being Michelle Obama. She checks off the same identity politic boxes, and it's going to be somebody who's maybe above the fray that doesn't create the same kind of infighting that could debilitate their party.
So Barack,
the reality, Sean,
Barack is literally leading the charge, trying to keep keeping plausible deniability, and then his own wife takes over. What do you call that?
I think you call it realism. Sean, the reality is...
No, this is very unrealistic.
Wait until after the RNC convention. That timing is optimal for them because it gets closer and closer to the eventual election. They're going to drag this out, I predict, through the Democratic nomination convention at the DNC in late August. I think Michelle Obama is not off the table.
So this is dumb. This is like a done deal. Like, within like a day of the announcement, everybody was like, oh, we can do that. Like, even like the leftists are like, not my favorite, but we can work with this, right? Because there are some ways in which she has signaled to the progressive wing of the Democratic Party that she's open to the ideas. If you remember during the 2020 debates, when they were talking about single payer healthcare, her and Bernie were the only ones that raised their hand that said that they're for single payer healthcare. I don't think she's ever said that her position has changed on that. Now, mind you, in the rest of the world, that's just how your fucking healthcare works. But here, that's a pretty progressive position. And she's able to gather support, I think, from the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which is different than leftists, by the way, in a way that I think Joe Biden could not have done. And also I just think the weird kooky shit is actually going to be what puts her over the top if she wins here. So here we got more. More about Michelle Obama. She's going to square the DEI circle or some shit. I don't know. It's fucking Jesse Waters' show. Who fucking knows?
I mean, this is just like lambs to the slaughter. They're looking at Biden. Tell me how you see it. They're looking at Biden, landslide, Kamala, and one of these white Midwestern guys, maybe a little less of a landslide, Monica?
Well, assuming, Jesse, that it ends up being Kamala Harris as the nominee, and I know a lot of big Democrats are endorsing her, but the one voice that's been silent on Kamala is Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama.
But they've been mostly doing, for the most part, just more broadly, Barack and Michelle Obama have gone about the business of shutting the fuck up.
Very quiet. So I think maybe Michelle Obama still may be in the mix. That being said, if in fact they go ahead.
Yeah, they endorsed her like within a week. They're just like, I don't know. They want it. I think and I don't blame them. Like after his presidency, I think they were fucking tired of this shit. And so they're just not like, they're not going to jump the gun on anything because they don't have to.
Michelle Obama's in the mix? Is she in the mix in Chicago in her hometown?
No. Like, I believe her when she says that she has said repeatedly that she does not want to be involved in politics. I think she said literally, I did my time. I think that's like her exact quote on the matter.
Well, there is a reason why the Democrats moved their convention to Chicago, Jesse. So
it's because it's a big fucking Midwestern city with a convention center, like because they can't put it in fucking San Francisco, San Jose, or Los Angeles or New York. It's got to be in like a place like Chicago or like Detroit or somewhere. It's strategic. It's optics.
they could recruit her. They can position her as the reluctant candidate. She's a woman of color, so that squares the Kamala Harris circle, being a minority and a DEI hire.
What the fuck?
Obama dismisses all of that. Look, I don't know how likely that is, but I don't want everybody sort of falling into this trap that Kamala Harris is the de facto candidate for the Democrats. This story is not over yet. Jesse, realize that
all these people desperately at this point, because again, we skipped last week, so this is like a week and a half ago. These people desperately wanted this to be chaos, and this isn't chaos. No chaos has happened at all. Nothing. No chaos. Look, Bernie endorsed her. Everybody endorsed her. I think fucking AOC. Everybody, the squad. Everybody endorsed her. Everybody, just everybody.
Power brokers never move without a plan. So while everybody is distracted with this chaos circus, there are powers that be, namely Barack and Michelle Obama and the entire Obama machine that's essentially run this country over the last 3.5 years, that wants an Obama 4 and 5.0. And what better way to do that, to run Michelle, where they can position her as somebody who didn't really want to do it, but she was recruited. She's a pristine candidate. She's immune to criticism as a woman of color. And if they run her, they could raise about $1 billion in 2-3 days.
Also, if that happened, these people would lose their fucking minds, because there's like, I'm not even, you'd be hard pressed to find like a person connected to politics in America who has like higher favorability like than Michelle Obama. Obviously, she's not a politician, whatever, but people like her. Like the people that are like call her Big Mike and shit. Those are a very small group of weirdos. So they should be glad actually that it ain't fucking her, because that would be we might as well not even have the fucking presidential election if it was Michelle Obama. But she ain't running. Why the fuck would she do that? Why the fuck would she do that? Her husband was the president for a while. He wrote a book. Now they're fucking rich, and I don't know where the fuck they live. It's none of my business. But they're like off fucking hanging out with fucking celebrities and fucking going to parties, and fucking their kids are grown, so they don't have to deal with their kids. They're like fucking retired people. Like what the. Why would she? I can't even imagine. Like, why? Anyway, there was a caller. Somebody called into Sean Hannity's show, really concerned with if you could imagine this, how weird JD Vance is, and Hannity tried to reassure the caller.
I have voted Democrat all my life, but I will never cast another vote for a Democrat. They have proven themselves to be a party that is anti-God, anti-family, and soft on crime. And those policies have literally destroyed the state of Minnesota that I live in, and they are destroying the country. So I am fully 100% in support of President Trump. Here's my concern. I was watching the convention, and I truly do not understand the pick of J.D. Vance, specifically because, in my opinion,
I understand Peter Thiel. They wanted. I think they did it because they were concerned that Peter Thiel's money might not come along for this election.
Nothing to the ticket. I am an African-American man, and you would be surprised, but you've seen the polling of how many African-Americans are really disenchanted with the Democratic Party. Now, we don't want to elect off of, genotype or phenotype or even just color, but from Tim Scott to Byron Donalds, even Tulsi Gabbard, Trump has a unique opportunity to expand the base, but to really deal a knockout blow to these crazy doggone liberals and Democrats. And J.D. Vance is over here riffing off the mouth, where there's his previous comments or even current comments, acting like he's Trump. You're not Trump. You don't have the cachet.
Let me just let your heart not be troubled in this way. And actually, I agree with Paul Begala. Usually vice presidents don't impact elections. This election is going to be about Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. And I am pretty much convinced that the honeymoon has stalled the more that people learn about Kamala Harris. I thought it would last a lot longer. And I think it's beginning to stall because I think people hearing her in her own words, and we take a little bit of credit for getting this started. I think people, the more they become aware of her. And it's really a matter of philosophical and ideological, governing philosophies. And you can have a greater distinction. She wants a 70 to 80% tax rate. That'll destroy America's economy. She wants open borders. She wants free, education and health care for illegal immigrants. She doesn't want borders. It's insane.
This stuff isn't going to work either.
She supported that bail fund. She supported a surrender in the war on radical Islamic terror. She doesn't even want to use the term radical Islamic terrorism. She's a clear.
Oh man, they're reaching way.
Freedom.
They're reaching way back into the way back. She won't even say radical Islamic terror. What is it? Fucking Sean Hannity all of a sudden a Reddit atheist? They're like reaching way back. Way back. Now, here's fucking Jesse Waters. He's like, we heard about the couch. Did you know that there's no video of JD Vance fucking your couch? So it's, probably not true.
And after Russia, COVID, and the Biden cover-up, America's seasoned vets by now. We don't buy the hoaxes and believe the hype anymore. Our eyes are wide open. And if you're going to accuse someone of having sex with a couch, you better have video.
Oh no! So I think Waters wants to see that video not for any a journalistic reason. I think Waters wants to see that video for a whole ass other reason. Oh, it just gets better. It gets better. Here's a behind the scenes at a fucking some kind of event with a JD Vance. Watch this. This is, oh man, this is so awkward. First of all, just look here. It looks like he borrowed one of Trump's suits.
Hey guys, JD Vance here in Radford, Virginia. I thought I'd take you behind the scenes a little bit. When you get to an event, they've got a ton of crap for you to drink and eat. You got 3 bottles of Diet Mountain Dew, about a dozen Snickers, a bag of chips. If I ate even half this stuff, of course,
damn, it's all that in a bag of chips.
Balloon up like crazy. This is the energy that powers the presidential and vice presidential campaign. Of course, I'm honored to be supporting President Trump. I'm honored to be his running mate. If you want to help us, chip in $5, chip in $15 to get the message out and to get people to the polls. This election is so important. Your resources help us do the things we need to win it.
Fucking, like, we get the fuck out, dude. That's like the worst fucking spread I have ever seen. He's like, look at these are the perks. I'm like, there's a bag of chips and Diet Mountain Dew. What a fucking awful spread. Spread at the Kamala event. I'm just saying. The spread at the Kamala event probably pretty good. Your contribution will buy us more crappy bags of chips. Oh, here we go. Here's JD Vance talking about his wife. I know you've all seen this one. What the fuck?
Look, I love my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha.
Why is he wearing eyeliner?
Such a good mom.
She's not a white person. You dumb motherfucker. Oh man, things have changed so dramatically since we've last been here on a Sunday. Things have just changed so incredibly much. Up next, we got one. Listen, I just hope this isn't true. Let's just hope that this isn't true. All right, because this ain't good for anybody if this one's true.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, I am 90% sure that I went on a date with this man. Before I read this article, I thought, you're just making this up. It can't be the same person. But I specifically remembered after I watched Hillbilly Elegy about 4 years ago on Netflix, I looked him up because I'm like, wow, he's like the same age as me. Wow. He grew up in Middletown. That's not too far from where I grew up. And when I saw pictures of him, I'm like, wow, he looks really familiar. And I immediately got a creepy feeling about this guy. Now, I could be wrong. But to help put things in perspective, essentially, we grew up around the same area, we're the same age, and apparently he was questioning his sexuality. A big reason that was able to happen was because of this. PlanItOut.com. Basically, if you wanted to find someone your age, this was the place to do it. I met a lot of my friends on PlanItOut.com. Dated a lot of my friends on PlanItOut.com. Pretty much, if you were gay and had the internet in Southwest Ohio in 2002, you knew everyone and you dated them. But essentially, yeah, I remember going on a date with this guy. Pretty sure it was JD Vance. It wasn't JD Vance. It's not the name he went by back then. But essentially we went on a date at Applebee's by the Dayton Mall in 2001, 2002. And I remember him being very strange, very creepy, gave off serial killer vibes. And what kind of threw me over the edge was he had a sock fetish, and he was very, very pushy about it. He didn't talk about it at the date, but the next day I think we talked on the phone, and I was trying to figure out a way to let this man down, or guy down. And then he got really pushy about the socks thing. I'm like, oh, that's it. It's an easy out. I'm much more open about fetishes now, but he was really weird about it. So yes, behind the whole couch thing, JD Vance allegedly has a sock fetish, and I'm the one who is alleging it. Also, for the love of God, if there's anybody who used to work for PlanItOut.com or has access to the data from this website, I would kill to find out, if that still exists. It's within the realm of possibility that I am the reason why he changed his mind about being gay. And for that, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry about Project 2025, but I was not going to take one for the team.
So I'm highly skeptical of this, but I thought I'd run it. So I did try to look into a little bit. I couldn't find anything. The Wayback Machine has its limitations, obviously. You can't go searching through old websites where there's it doesn't retain the database of the website. So you're unable to search through, the old Planet Out stuff. So if And like someone in chat said, if this was the case, if he was out there dating, I think somebody else would have, there would be more people. I think that's correct. I think it's likely. But I also I just hope it's not true, because I don't want it to be true. It's not one of those things that I'm like, oh goody, this guy was running around dating men. No, I don't want it to be true. Fuck that. Not great. Not good news for anybody. Up next, we got a couple of pretty good anti-JD Vance political ads.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just,
we already saw this.
just the start.
If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
My son monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. That's true, you can look it up.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do. It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November.
We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
Like over the course of that video, they just kept getting sweatier and sweatier. Shout out to the fucking actors who did that too, because they did a pretty good job. And like that's not really the best acting job. So shout out to the actors who did that. Fucking A. And we got one more anti-Vance political ad here. This one's about the couches because of course it is.
Do you love couches? With their luscious curves and supple fabrics? Do you wish there was a way to love couches even more? Introducing JD Jelly. JD Jelly. The only lube made for couch sex. Get those cushions ready for pushing. Whether it's leather, pleather, or wool, JD Jelly makes any couch a love seat, so you can glide right in like a lubricated dolphin. Because we're all better off when weirdos f their couches and not our democracy. Buy JD Jelly today, and all the proceeds will go to a childless cat lady who actually cares about protecting the fabric of our country, not weirdly having sex with couch fabric. JD Jelly. Couches, not democracy.
Oh man, they fucked up, dude. They really fucked up picking JD Vance. There's just so much to make fun of about that guy. Up next, we got a couple just real quick hits from a couple of the people who may be the VP picks. This is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz on CNN. He seems okay to me.
Of all her potential running mates, you might have the most progressive record as governor. I know you were more of a moderate when you were in the House, but you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own healthcare decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness. Look, they're going to label whatever they're going to label. He's going to roll it out, mispronounce names, to try and make the case. The fact of the matter is, where you see the policies that Vice President Harris was a part of making, Democratic governors across the country executed those policies, and quality of life is higher, the economies are better, all of those things. Educational attainment is better. So yeah, my kids are going to eat here, and you're going to have a chance to go to college, and you're going to have an opportunity to live where we're working on reducing carbon emissions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have personal incomes that are higher, and you're going to have health insurance. So if that's where they want to label me, I'm more than happy to take the label.
Have you?
I wish he would have leaned into the pot more too. I wish he would have been like, and you're not going to go to jail if you decide to smoke weed in your own house. Like, I wish he would have leaned into that a little bit more, but that's okay. That's not really a wedge issue anymore. So, but that's the thing is, it should be, because like most Republicans are for the legalization of cannabis, and you get like, oh, that's a good issue for like independents and moderates. Up next, we also got Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Also seems like he'd be a pretty good pick, and especially because he's from Pennsylvania, that's going to be a real important battleground state.
Question. Governor, J.D. Vance just said this about you, and these are his words, quote, he compared you to a really bad impression of Barack Obama. What is your response to that?
Is that what he said? That's great. I love how we get the real-time quotes here. I mean, look, I don't know. Barack Obama was probably our most gifted orator of my time, so it's kind of a weird insult, I guess. But look, I'll say this about J.D. Vance. It is real hard being honest with the American people when you're not being honest with yourself. J.D. Vance is a total phony baloney. He is the most inorganic candidate I think I have ever seen on the national stage. He doesn't know what he believes, and that is why it is impossible for him to articulate a coherent message to the American people, because he doesn't believe it. This guy is not exactly off to a good start, and it is clear that Donald Trump really has buyer's remorse with his pick. So if he wants to sling insults in my direction, which I'm not even sure is an insult, let him do it. That's fine. Bring it on. I'll be ready for whatever the hell J.D. Vance throws my direction. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, this is like all these like boring, like regular like dudes in a suit, like boring ass white dude in a suit, number 5 and number 3 and number 2. They're all like clamoring for the chance to fucking dunk on JD Vance because they think that they could, for once in their fucking lives, be cool. And to be fair, I mean, it's not tough being cooler than JD Vance. Up next, we got a palate cleanser. We need a palate cleanser. This is Karen's Diner.
I don't get in, just push door. What's all the hands for? There you go. What you got, Grandma? Oh, right, it's just being nice. No, you're in the wrong fucking place for that. Yeah, I would have got this. Have you told her that surprised them where she's coming to leave, clearly? You're going to have a fucking shot today. Does everyone else understand the concept of the diner? Yes. Grandma, if you cry, do the toilets because no one gives a shit. Any allergies? Dietary requirements? Check this out, okay? Wait, I want you. Shit time. You need to
Love it. Fucking love it. Fucking amazing. No idea. Yeah, the point of that diner is that they're not nice to you, but it's funny because like the food's probably good and you probably do get good service. It's just that they just talk shit to you because it's like an inversion of what customer service is supposed to be. That's why it's so funny. Taking grandma there without telling her what it was that's the reason that diner exists, right? There's got to be like a non-insignificant number of their customers who are just there to like freak somebody else out. But then like you go and the food's good and shit, you fucking go back, right? I mean, that's how I think about it. Like you have a marketing gimmick, and as long as your food is good, people will probably go back. Up next, we got a candidate for Father of the Year over here. This is at a wrestling tournament, and this ain't great.
Let go of his leg.
I got it in 4K, y'all.
I got it in 4K, y'all. What a horrible person. Like, this is a problem with fucking kids' sports. It's never the kids, right? It's the fucking parents who get all freaked out. If there's like what they think is a bad call or whatever, they freak out. They put too much pressure on their kids. The sports aren't fucking fun. Like that, it takes like everything about sports. The fucking you get one or two bad parents, and it just ruins everything that you're supposed to fucking learn about sports. We're starting to get a little close on time, so I'm gonna skip some stuff here, and we're gonna get into red light. Here's some more of the former president at the National American Black Journalists Conference in Chicago. I got two more clips of that. These were amazing.
Your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
You a crybaby. You a little piss baby. Here's more from this interview.
And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a
Dumb fuck.
They're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people.
You dumb fuck. What's a black job? He's like, anybody that has a job. He didn't perform super well there. Up next, we're calling this one I Love It When They Fight. This is Peter Navarro and Ann Coulter. Not really getting along so good lately. Let's see what I mean here.
Ann Coulter's here. I forced her to sit here and listen to the entirety of the interview. Usually we would keep Ann in the green room, but I said, Ann, I want you to sit and listen. Thoughts?
So wish you hadn't done that. I was fully prepared to defend him and make a much better argument than he just made. But now I wish they had kept him in prison for 4 years instead of 4 months. This is why Republicans lose. I had no idea how profoundly stupid he is. He started with it, so I'll start with it. And it's Republicans who think it's a good idea to brag about how we're really soft on crime. Trump let prisoners out of prison. We passed the First Step Act. What has been the most winning issue for Republicans for the past 50 years being tough on crime, Dan Abrams? And
Man, I can't wait till they keep fighting. Although, like, Ann Coulter, I don't know. She like is like not anywhere near as popular as she used to be because of the fucking like the takeover of essentially like kind of Gamergate weirdos of the Republican Party in some ways. She's not really into that shit. Up next, I called this one Live, Work, Die. This is somebody from Project 2025 talking about Social Security. And it's not great. I forget this guy's name, too. He used to always be on TV, and then he wasn't on TV much anymore, and now he's always on TV again.
I want to move on to this. This is hot topic today. President Trump just announced this on True Social. Quote, yes. Seniors should not pay tax on Social Security, signaling a shift away from legislation signed by Ronald Reagan back in 1984 to tax income from that program. Your reaction to that, Steve?
You know, I didn't see this coming. I had talked to Trump, I remember a few months ago, and he had sort of hinted at this idea. And I've been thinking a lot about it, and I wrote a piece for Fox Business, which will be online sometime probably in the morning. I've decided I think it's a good idea, and the reason is, you know, seniors, and I'm 64 now, so I guess I'm almost eligible for Social Security. We want people to keep working. We want to keep incentivizing people once they turn 65 or 66 or 70. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He's 70, I don't know, 70 something, and you know he's working 7 days a week. And so the system right now, Dagan, punishes you if you continue to work. You have to pay income taxes. You know, you're going to have to pay death taxes when you die, and you're going to have to pay a tax on your Social Security benefits.
What? So, no, it doesn't. If you work longer, your benefits are better.
Sometimes seniors are paying taxes on their income of over 50%. And so I think Trump is onto something here. I think it's good politics because seniors are a critical, voter group. But I think it's good policy. We want people to keep working and stop taxing them to death.
Well, it is kind of also amazing that the federal government can take money away from workers and hold it for any number of decades right. and then not get paid interest back. Instead, they get forced to pay taxes on it. All right, we want to shift gears to this real quick.
Hold on, Charlie. That's a really important point, if I may. So think about how this system works. They tax you when you work, and then they're going to give you a payment, not including interest, when you retire, and then they're going to tax you on the benefit that you receive. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense.
And then you're going to steal. They're going to steal your money that they're supposed to hold in escrow for you when you retire.
So yeah, we shouldn't be taxing Social Security, but this guy's also dumb in that, like, if you take Social Security as soon as you're eligible for it, your benefits aren't going to be as high as if you stay in the workforce longer. I don't know exactly how it works, but if you take it early, your benefits are lower. So like people are already incentivized to live, work, die. Up next, apparently Did you know that IVF, in vitro fertilization, is linked with pornography? I didn't know that, but apparently it's true. This lady says so.
Pornography is an integral part of the IVF process, and the husband's use of pornography is typically how sperm is obtained. That's not good for a marriage. We know that pornography goes against what God tells us about the dignity of men and women in the marital act.
Oh man. Oh. These people, again, they're fucking weird. They're so fucking weird. Up next we got two Charlie Kirks. The first one's about, if you could guess, witches and demons. I don't know how surprised you're going to be, but it should not be surprising.
Is that I was talking about how witchcraft and the occult is a real thing. Yeah. And there are portals to darkness, and you have to be vigilant about this. And that I believe that there are leaders.
Wait, they made fun of that?
Oh, the mockery, Jack. Who are you to say all? I mean, because, well, it's kind of interesting. They make fun of it because no one actually wants to say that out loud, that we're in the midst of the most consequential spiritual war, I think,
absolutely,
of millennia, right? No
People make fun of it because it's fucking ridiculous.
But then there's the scientific materialists that will say, oh yeah, there's no invisible realm or domain. They call themselves atheists. They're not. They just, they're lost. But it's really interesting though, Jack. There is no other way to explain the campaign of arson
and
destruction against our country other than diabolical, spiritually dark influences that are fighting for dominion over this nation. And let me just add a little bit of a wrinkle to this, and Jack, you can riff. This is why I have lost my patience. I am now in a patience deficit, okay?
I don't care.
How can I pray for you, Charlie? Pray for patience, of which I am...
Fucking demons, fucking witchcraft. This is so crazy. This is like dumber than the Satanic Panic. Now up next we got a guest on Charlie Kirk's show. It's someone touting Project 2025, and it's about basically the unitary executive. We have to put the executive in charge of everything so as to balance the power out to have checks and balances.
So, in order to remedy this sort of great imbalance, or this
why are these fucking freaks always so close to the fucking camera?
Usurpation of the legislative and judicial branches over the executive branch, which has become the Democratic branch with a small d, and thus has been rendered utterly toothless in the sense that the president himself has power over the government. The only remedy for this wrong is to put the president entirely in charge of the government. And that essentially means that the executive branch, far from being checked and balanced in a way that does not work and has left the executive branch not checked and balanced, but simply hogtied and held hostage, is to render the executive branch completely unilateral. And when I talk about,
yeah, they want, this is some dictator shit or some king shit, right? They're like, well, we don't want the other branches to do things because then we might have to engage in a representative democracy. So they're like, in order to have proper checks and balances, we don't have to have any checks and balances. Just let the president do whatever they want. The thing is, if their candidate doesn't win, they're immediately going to start accusing the Democratic person who wins. First of all, they're going to claim that the election was stolen, but then they're going to like claim that person's a dictator. Like immediately, they're going to fucking turn on a dime, and people are going to be like pointing out the hypocrisy as if that matters. Nobody gives a fuck about hypocrisy over there. You can't, like, pointing out someone's hypocrisy only matters if they care that they're a hypocrite. Up next, we got Andrew Klavan, a fucking weirdo Andrew Klavan, just talking about how women can't take care of themselves, I guess. A little weird, a little weird. This guy's usually not such a right-wing weirdo. He's usually a little more moderate, at least in his tone, than the other people over at the Daily Wire.
Before Biden stepped down, one Quinnipiac poll showed that Trump had the support of just 36% of women. 58% of women were ready to vote for Joe Biden, a guy that anybody who was paying attention knew was too senile to be the president. So they were willing to vote for a senile goober over Trump. They just don't like this guy. Now, I don't believe in making great generalities about things, like what they call totalizing principles, like life is about this or society is about this. But sometimes it's kind of like being the blind man with the elephant. You're only seeing one side of it. But sometimes that helps. Sometimes you're just taking a look at one side of things. And that's what I'm going to do now. There is a sense in which the central purpose of every society is to figure out the distribution of women, because women are valuable. They're valuable not just for their company and for their way of looking at things and for sex, which is a lot of fun, but also because they are the only path there is to continuing your genetic inheritance. That is the way it is. When
Gross.
you want women on this kind of basic animalistic, just life level to reproduce, right? So the most obvious way to distribute women is to give all the women to the strongest man, right? So you
what? Like to distribute women?
Reproduce from the strongest person. That's the way many gorillas, silverbacks live. The one guy gets all the girls. And the problem with that is it sounds like a good idea, but it's unstable because obviously all the other guys
inbreeding, also inbreeding.
Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll get
that's not really like not really how the gorilla communities work.
The main guy, the alpha guy, will steal the woman, and that's why those governments are unstable. That's how you get Magna Carta, where the aristocrats, the most powerful people, go to the king and say, "We want power too." That is kind of the human way of acting out that gorilla system. Ultimately, other men want women. When you have a democracy, the best system is monogamy, right? One per couple.
Well, no. I mean, it's just fucking do your thing.
Gets a woman. And it sounds like that means that weak people will be allowed to breed, but it turns out it's actually a pretty good system because it favors diversity. Because a lot of times the smartest guy in the room and the strongest guy in the room are two entirely different people. So you want the strongest guy to reproduce, but you also want the smartest guy to reproduce, and that is how humanity advances. In fact, monogamy, one per customer, is a really good basis for a society. However, it goes against the gorilla code. And the gorilla code is written into our DNA. We're somehow related. I'm not saying we evolved from gorillas, but we're related to them. We're not that far away from them.
Oh, well, shit. At least he fucking, he even understands like the concept of a common ancestor.
The men want lots of women. So the strongest man wants all the women, and the women want the strongest man. That is the way evolution has designed us. So the strong have to take back the women. They want to take back the women from a system that is free. A system that is free is going to be a monogamous system. That's the way that works because it is the best system for freedom. It means everyone gets something, right?
No, but a system where it's free is going to have all different kinds of coupling relationships. People are going to be single. People are going to hook up. People are going to have casual relationships. People are going to date around.
The women get a man. All the men get a woman. As close as we can come to that. The strong want to take women back, and they have to do it because it's a free system. They can't do it by force. They might want to, but they can't. They have to do it by lies. And there are two big lies they want to tell them. One is your husband is a no-goodnik. He's a pain in the ass, and he's bossing you around. That's the first lie. And that lie is probably not a lie. It's probably true on some days, at least. But the big lie that the government wants to tell you, that the people who want the power concentrated all in one place to get all the women, they want to tell you is that women can take care of themselves. And women hate the idea that they can't take care of themselves, but women cannot take care of themselves. They're smaller, weaker. Men are stronger. Men are mean. They're more aggressive. They will take them over. They'll do it anytime they can, anywhere they can. They will abuse them. They will hurt them. Women have to come up with different strategies for survival than men do, right? Men buff up. They get tough. They study karate. They learn how to fight. Women can do all those things, and there still is going to be a man who can take them down. Women have to find different ways of being safe, and one of those ways is finding a man to protect them.
What the fuck? So women can't take care of themselves, but see, like this is the problem here. Like some of the statistics don't bear this out right now, because these people in another breath would be like, there's a boy crisis, right? And women are getting are more financially stable and are getting more college degrees. Like at the low end, the low and like low to medium end, obviously at the top of the layer cake, it's a fucking white boys club. But it like they like undercuts one of the things that they're talking about like the crisis of men and boys, where, you know, men are more likely to be homeless, men are more likely to attempt suicide, all that. And it's just like, well, which set of talking points are we supposed to be listening to you motherfuckers about? Because those ideas are in conflict. Now, if you're like you or me, I assume most people listening to this conversation or this podcast or whatever are going to be in this category. It's a little more complicated than that. And it's not, we accept that society's just complicated. And there are problems that face women, problems that face men, but most individuals actually can take care of themselves, and it should be able to, because that makes for a more stable society, no matter whether people tend to get married, tend to just date around, tend to hook up, tend to be asexual or aromantic, any of those things. It's better if individuals can generally provide for themselves. It's just better. These are not like you have to believe that, or otherwise like you end up saying dumb shit like he just said that contradicts like something you probably heard on the same network just a fucking couple days ago about the crisis of men and boys or whatever. So it's dumb. Ooh, speaking of dumb, we're going to check in on Dave Rubin.
You know what? Here we go. I'm going to make a bold statement. Michael, I'm going to make a bold statement today. Bold statement. Here we go. If Joe Biden is sworn in on January 20th, 2021, and he completes a 4-year term, actually completes a 4-year term, I will retire. I will retire at the end of that term. That will be it. I will disappear.
Oh, he knew.
4 years and about a month and a half. That'll be it. That's how convinced. I will just disappear from public life altogether. I will delete all of my accounts, and then you'll never hear from me again. That's how convinced I am that it ain't going to happen. He will not be president for 4 years. He either won't be president at all because of the election fraud and all that kind of stuff.
Wait, he won't be president at all? Are you saying that the election fraud will cause the other person to win?
Which, by the way, is gaining momentum. We're not even really covering it that much today, but it is actually gaining momentum. And Giuliani was at a hearing in Arizona today. They found some really bizarre stuff. But I want to show you a video from November 3rd, 2020. Okay, we are now in July of 2024. So I want to show you a video from November 3rd, 2020, the day Joe Biden became president, or that he was elected president. Now, whether he finishes the term or not is utterly irrelevant, because it is obvious he is not president. Megan, we posted a video on Twitter this morning from my show on November 3rd, 2020. November 3rd.
Yeah, I caught that. He was saying this in 2020.
Where I said that if he is sworn in again as a second term, if he makes it through this first term and is sworn in again, that I would retire. I would delete all my accounts and retire. Now,
I said on my...
That's not what he said.
Against the View live stream that I will retire. I will delete all of my channels if Joe Biden is sworn into a second term.
Wow. But that's not what he said.
Joe Biden is sworn in on January 20th, 2021, and he completes a 4-year term, actually completes a 4-year term, I will retire. I will retire at the end of that term. That will be it. Am I from the future? Am I a wizard? Am I clairvoyant? I don't think so.
Damn, did Megyn Kelly fucking body him on this?
Brain dead. Do I have a magic 8 ball? Am I from the future? I don't think so. All I am not, I'm just not a completely brain dead moron.
Oh, that's untrue. You're dumb as fuck.
Mainstream media and online treat you guys like brain dead morons.
You dumbass. Fucking, like, why? I don't understand. He has like a copy of his old quote. Like, why? I mean, I guess he's just lying because he knows like the audience doesn't care that much if he lies. We got one more before we go into red light, everybody. This is Russell Brand at some fucking weird fucking Bitcoin event. Fucking goddamn Bitcoin weirdos.
There was a moment, September last year, where I myself was at the very middle of a tundra, a dark maelstrom of incredible power, only the kind of power that can only occur when big tech platforms, big media, and government align. The government in my country directly asked platforms to demonetize me, a sit-in government minister. This is an extraordinary overreach of government. among the people and platforms that were bold enough to say, hold on, we have principles around justice, around hearings, around innocent until proven guilty, was Chris Pavlovsky at Rumble. And of course, Elon Musk at X, who I know evokes complex feelings like many tech billionaires. They're all fucking crazy, these guys. They're all a bit weird. They're not like normal people. I've got to know tech billionaires now. They sort of look at their phone too much. They leave meals in the middle of a meal. They'll just get up and go. Essentially, they're monetizing autism.
What the fuck? So everybody knows like what happened. He was like credibly accused by a number of people of sexual harassment and possibly sexual assault. And he didn't handle it very well. He just went running to the fucking men's rights fucking weirdos like they all do. And it worked out as well as it could have for him, I suppose. It's been nice seeing him kind of like lose his cultural cachet. Because, you know, it's just been nice. It's been nice. He's like now playing, he's like playing a caricature of himself, sort of, which is pretty disingenuous. And I think even like people who would be inclined to like align with him, I think some people can tell that it's a pretty odd caricature of himself. Who knows? Whatever. Thanks everybody, by the way, for toughing it out. First and foremost, I fucking am exhausted. Didn't really feel like doing a show today, but I hadn't done a Sunday show in a couple weeks, so I came here to do the Sunday show. And then some weird shit happened with my setup here, which almost never happens. Again, thanks everybody for toughing it out. Thanks Justin for the raid. Thanks for the followers and the subscribers. We're going to head on into red light. If you're listening on the podcast, hopefully I was able to edit the audio and video in such a way that you didn't really notice that anything happened. But anyway, you can get the whole show. Go on over to patreon.com/echoplex or eplex.store. Monthly members at the $5 level or higher get the entire show sent to your email address. Monday's the day after the show. And if you really want the show, though, you can email me. I'm not like legitimately paywalling a show over some $5. So we'll be back for red light. I only have one thing on my red light docket, but people who are fans of the intellectual Dollar Tree and remember the incident with the fucking tigers a couple weeks ago will be pretty glad about the one long form thing I have for red light. And then after that, we'll poke around, find some other stuff to watch. I'm going to change the color of the lights in this room, and I'm going to change the content of my beverage. This is Boomers by Periscope, and I will be back for red light.